People are starting to pick an impulsive opponent for John Cena's final match. Hey, what's going on, guys? Kevin Zwicker from Fast Count coming at you. And before I get into this video, please remember to like the video and subscribe. It helps the channel out in more ways than you even know. Plus, it's free. So as we inch closer and closer to 2025, that is the beginning of, as we all know, the John Cena Farewell Retirement Tour. He has already announced that he will be at the Netflix January 6th Raw premiere. I am predicting that on that night, he will be the first guy to announce that he is entering the 2025 Royal Rumble. And as this retirement tour was announced, people already started to fantasy book different points of this retirement tour. Oh, he's going to wrestle this person at SummerSlam. This is going to be his WrestleMania opponent. He's going to do this, do this, do this, do this. He's going to wrestle this person, that person. And all of those things are good. We all know the usual suspects that are being brought up when it comes to the retirement tour. But one name that is gaining a lot of momentum to be the final opponent for his last match is Logan Paul. And I know a lot of people, as soon as I mention that name, kind of want to throw up in their mouth. But when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense just in the traditional wrestling terms, right? As we all know, if you've been following wrestling for any long amount of time, you know that the final match, traditionally, the guy who's in the last match, he goes out on his back. If you really want to look at it in that type of lens, Logan Paul is a guy who, by beating John Cena, he's already a heat magnet, but beating John Cena in his final match would take his levels of heat from here to here. And if you want to look at it on the reverse way, he is the guy who, if John Cena is going to go out on a win, he would be the guy who people would be the most satisfied with John Cena pinning and getting the W in that match. It also doesn't have to be the final opponent in this John Cena retirement tour, but I do predict that during this retirement tour, we are going to get that match. And I do think that's a big-time match that people who usually don't turn into wrestling on a weekly basis would be excited to see. I personally think it's one of those like freak show type matches, similar to the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight. I feel like that would be that version, but in the wrestling world. Like I said earlier, the way that I'm predicting this retirement tour is going to go, and I'm not going to, try to give you specific timelines because that could easily be debunked and easily be not the way to go. But like I said, I do predict that on the January 6th episode of Raw, he is going to be the first guy to announce that he is going to enter the Royal Rumble. And I think John Cena is going to win the Royal Rumble. And we're going to get this kind of tease of potentially getting a John Cena and Cody Rhodes type match. These are the two guys who, if you want to think about the biggest baby faces in WWE, especially within the last decade and a half, it would be these two guys. I think we're going to get that tease, but I think eventually we're going to get John Cena versus Gunther because that's the traditional John Cena match that we've seen in the past. And I believe that what should happen is John Cena should lose. And the way that he should lose decisively. And I think that they should kind of build like this Rocky type of run for John Cena to really be on the chase, because I feel like the chase is the more interesting aspect of this. I feel like people, when they think of a John Cena title run for him breaking this record, I think they kind of just envision what the moment would be like and not what an actual run would be. And if you really look back at within the last several years, John Cena hasn't won a singles match. And I think about 8 years. I believe the last time he won a singles match was the first show in Saudi Arabia against Triple H. And that's a super long time. I feel like they should kind of build and build and build towards he gets these big singles wins. And in a place like SummerSlam or maybe even Survivor Series, at this point it doesn't matter, because they do these B shows that were traditionally B shows. They pack them out in different international arenas. But I do believe that John Cena will eventually capture the WWE Championship. Maybe not from Gunther, but he will get the championship eventually. And I think that his final match, everybody's saying Randy Orton, or they're hoping for Randy Orton. I do think that during this farewell tour, he will have a match against Randy Orton. He will have a match against CM Punk. But I think that the last match, I personally always believe that the last match for somebody, you should be giving back to a younger talent. The only type of last match that I could really remember to where that didn't happen was Sting's match, Sting and Darby Allin's match against the Young Bucks. All of those guys were already established guys in AEW. But I feel like the last match should be against a guy like Braun Breaker or Gunther again, or just I would go with Braun Breaker because I feel like Braun Breaker is that guy who's going to be the next person to take the mantle from guys like Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns as they get older. I feel like Braun Breaker is going to be the next guy. So that probably would be the opponent that I would pick. And John Cena's last match should be against Braun Breaker, kind of like one of those old Western type of face-offs where you got the old grizzled gunslinger against the new sheriff in town where he's trying to establish himself as a name. I think that would be the way to go. As we all know, John Cena said that WrestleMania will not be his last match. It's going to be his last WrestleMania. His last match is going to take place in December, is what I remember him stating. And they should make a Netflix special on its own for that. John Cena's last match. They've never really done anything in wrestling like that where they're just marketing one match. And I think that should be the way that they play it. Kind of similar to how they did the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight, where it's like centered around this one match and you're kind of hyping it up like this heavyweight bout. That's the way that I would play it. John Cena versus Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker takes the W, and John Cena gets his loud and warm farewell from the WWE universe while also giving the rub to this young guy who is the next heir apparent to the throne in the WWE. But let me hear what you guys think in the comment section. Who is John Cena's last opponent? How would you book it? Would you be excited for a match against Logan Paul? Do you not want to see him wrestle Logan Paul at all? Let me know in the comment section. I am Kevin Zwicker. I'm out.